Hi, in this video I'm going to be going over Cardano and its implications for the rest of 2018, so stay right there. Hi, I'm Josh and we talk crypto. If you're looking to get more reviews like this about certain crypto projects or just tips in the blockchain space in general, please subscribe and hit that like button. I will be doing videos like this more often, and we're going to go right into Cardano. Cardano is a decentralized public blockchain. That is the space it operates in. Some similar projects to this are Ethereum, Neo, Waves, EOS, and NEM, to name a few. The space is getting pretty crowded. There are a lot of competitors and people trying to build upon the flaws that existed with Ethereum. Ethereum was probably one of those first decentralized computing databases that were out there where you could actually build applications on top of. I like to think of it as like an app store, one big app store, but that's decentralized, is not controlled by anyone, and anyone has the tools to build on top of it. So this is what Cardano is doing. They've came into the space and they've committed some really talented scientists and cryptographers to building the perfect blockchain project that will allow people to build these decentralized apps on and run ICOs off of. Their big thing and their protocol is a proof of stake method for Their big thing is a proof of stake method for confirming transactions that happen in the decentralized blockchain that they have. And that's something Ethereum wants to switch to eventually, as stated by Vitalik Buterin. So where I see these guys is they have lots of features that they want to roll out by the end of 2018. A big one is multi-signature wallets and addresses to upgrade their security features. And a lot of these things, looking at the roadmap for 2018, that's when it plans to be rolled out. Now, as of recently, and I haven't seen any updates yet, but this blockchain runs on a few private computing resources. So they aren't public computing resources like my laptop or your cell phone or your tablet. They are private resources, so they're not technically a decentralized blockchain yet. They're private, and I think they're doing a lot of testing to get the product ready to be, implemented by the end of 2018 and so forth. And they have a lot of intensive things going on their roadmap in 2019 as well. So that's the basic gist. This is going to be a quick video talking to it. I'm not going to go over to the basics of what Cardano is. I've kind of briefly went over it, but I'm just going to go over where I see it in terms of this crowded blockchain space by the end of 2018, because it's getting pretty crowded. Some of this might be, we're gonna get into the investments as well. Although, I have to say this, I'm not an investment advisor. I don't give financial advice. So, take this with your own risk or with a grain of salt. So basically, Cardano is a coin that seeks for mass adoption. Why? How? We can tell this because of the amount of their circulating supply and their total and their max supply. They have around 25 billion circulating. Total would be around, I believe it's 31 billion, and max is 45 billion currently. So these guys want mass adoption. They want everyone in the world using their blockchain. And I'm sure they're accounting for machine-to-machine payments, phones making payments, your car making payments at a gas station. Maybe they want to get into Internet of Things later. But this denotes that there is a lot of adoption that needs to happen to pretty much inflate the prices anywhere. Now, I'm sure they wouldn't really care about speculation and stuff like we do, but a lot of investors like ourselves do care about these types of things. So it's important that we talk about this if you have any money invested in Cardano and what you'd like to see for the future, what you're thinking is going to happen. So I think in the short term, we've already seen Cardano's price reach an all-time high of $1.32. And that was when the market was booming, and I would say the market cap was probably around 700 billion. So we know the potential Cardano has to reach. Right now it's at 22 cents. So it's about a 5 or 6x away from getting to that all-time high again that we probably like to see. Now, I have to also say I'm not personally invested in Cardano. I do not own any. But whenever this market decides to get back to where it is, if so, and if it doesn't bubble or go horribly wrong before then, I believe prices are going to stabilize back to where they were, and you're going to see at least that 5x, 6x return in Cardano. I know I say this pretty much for every coin because history showed us, the short amount of history we have in the crypto space shows that when the markets do get back to normal, the prices will reach their normal price that they were before there was any large crash or correction. So I do expect, purely on hype and speculation and deliverables from their roadmap towards the end of 2018, for it to least 5x and 6x there. And that's not accounting for any of these updates, so I'd like to say. But in terms of a long-term investment, if you're looking at this to be an Ethereum like 3 to 5 years, 5 to 10 years down the line, this is where I have trouble seeing its entire potential. I believe that the team behind this are very talented, very qualified, maybe even overqualified to release this project and have it be a means of actually doing something. But at the same time, it's still not a product yet. It's still on a private blockchain, not ready. It's being tested heavily. It's being built. And there's projects ahead of it where people are actually migrating from ETH to those projects, or they're building upon ETH, or they're trying to make ETH better. But the focus is right now is ETH has first mover advantage, and there's a few other public blockchains fighting for second mover advantage. Right now, it seems like that's somewhere between Neo and EOS, if I had to say. But, or you could throw NEM in there too, at least in other parts of the world. But these guys have the entire market share of the space. So they are the ones getting the developers on board. Even Ethereum, which their programming language makes it harder for developers to get on. But you go to any job out there that's working on a blockchain projects, they're all on Ethereum. I said this in another video, but I was in a meetup last week to go to a Block Apps meetup and a Consensus meetup. These are companies that are performing and creating blockchain solutions with Ethereum's blockchain, and a lot of the programming language is Solidity. And yes, it's a hurdle, but developers are learning and they are trying to develop in Ethereum because it's a hot commodity right now. And if you know that, you are set. So there's that, and there's Neo. And Neo's prevalent in other parts of the world, mainly China. You got NEM, it's mainly Japan, Singapore, other parts of Asia, and Australia. And EOS is, I guess, another big American household name that you hear of a lot, and over in Europe as well. But it's getting crowded. Waves too in Russia. So here comes Cardano, and you're thinking about long term, like this could be the blockchain that oversets Ethereum or upsets it, or any of those other blockchains. And that's a long way to go to visualize that, because number one, the coin economics aren't really great for this. You're talking about massive adoption, and the chances for that is really slim if you are that 6 or 7 project to come out and you don't have a product out right now. Other projects are rolling with a product. NEM is battle tested and has over 100 companies pilot testing its Midgen product. Neo, not sure, but I believe they have a foundation. They have successfully built ICOs on their product, working on decentralized exchange. These blockchains are being battle tested for actual use. Ethereum's blockchain is heavily battle tested every day. All these crypto kitties and all these games that are being built on it. And EOS, I don't know much about, I have to admit. But there's also Steam. Steam is huge. The social media blockchain that pays content creators. These blockchains are battle tested to handle transactions after transactions. And I believe Cardano is here to fix some of the security features or some of the flaws that are prevalent in these blockchains, but I don't think it's going to do that fast enough before these blockchains figure it out and fix those flaws themselves. With the support that they're getting, with the foundations that they're building, with the partnerships that they're creating, I don't think Cardano could come in at the right time to do that. In the short term, I think it's possibly to get a solid 5x to 10x. I could see going as high as $2, yes, $2.20. But for the long term, if you're planning to hold this maybe longer than a year, even, I would say, then it's really hard to visualize how it can be a successful hold. And again, network effects, the amount of people using these blockchains, and how late Cardano is into the game. So I'd love to hear what you think. Do you think Cardano has a chance to outdo these blockchains in the long run, get people on its side and win their support? Or do you think maybe that it just phases out and it becomes one of those projects that no one remembers? So curious to hear what you think. And if you found this helpful, please drop a like and subscribe. Thanks, Josh out.